have I got a video for you. I have a plethora of books of all types. You thought I would say plethora, but I fooled you. Aloha and welcome back to my channel. I'm Marilyn, or Maya, you choose, the baby boomer booktuber. And have I got a video for you today? I have some new releases, well 2021 releases, for the March Mystery Madness. And I've been having so much fun gathering books, reading books. I've been really excited. But I've also done other things beside March Mystery Madness. I have a few books for the Irish Readathon and some other books that are not related but that came from February for Black History Month. So let's get started. My first book could be an Irish book because it's an Irish author, but it's a mystery. And I looked this up. The name of it is The House on Vesper Sands. And it's by Paraic O'Donnell. And Paraic is Gaelic or Celtic way of saying, you let me know, of saying Patrick. But I looked it up and I thought, Paraic, that's so pretty. And The House on Vesper Sands is a 2021 release of a mystery. And it says, London, 1893, high up in a house on a dark, snowy night, a lone seamstress stands by a window. So begins the swirling, serpentine world of Paraic O'Donnell's Victorian-inspired mystery. The story of a city cloaked in shadow, but burning with questions. Why does the seamstress jump from the window? Why is a cryptic message stitched into her skin? And how is she connected to a rash of missing girls, all of which seem to have disappeared under similar circumstances? This trope is usually not my jam, but it really sounded interesting. So a little dark, but interesting. So I might read it. But I really got these books for other people to get an idea for suggestions, because I know what I like already. And this might be something I like, but it's a historical mystery is not usually my cup of tea, but we will see. The next book looks like a thriller. It's also a 2021 release, The Downstairs Neighbor, a novel by Helen Cooper. And it says, can you keep a secret when you live under the same roof? From the downstairs apartment in suburban London, Emma had often overheard the seemingly perfect family above her, Steph, Paul, and teenage daughter Freya, but has never gotten to know them, until one day she hears something that seizes her attention. Freya has vanished, and the police are questioning Steph and Paul about their life. Do either of them have any enemies? Anyone who might want to harm or threaten you? So it goes on about Freya's disappearance. By the way, if anyone knows, I've only heard the name Freya since I joined BookTube. So can someone tell me where the name originated from? I'm quite interested in names. But anyway, this is The Downstairs Neighbor, a 2021 sounds like thriller release. My next book is a cozy, and it's by Ellery Adams, and it's called Ink and Shadows, a secret book and Scone Society novel. Now, when I picked this up, I picked it up primarily because it was a 2021 release. But when I read the blurb, it's really not up my alley, but it might be up yours. So it's a new mystery from the New York Times best-selling author Ellery Adams. Controversy erupts in Miracle Springs, North Carolina, when the owner of the local bookstore tries to play peacekeeper, but winds up playing detective instead. The reason I didn't like the blurb, and I'm going to go into the blurb why I didn't like it. Nora Pennington is known for her window displays, and as Halloween approaches, she decides to showcase fictional heroines like Roald Dahl's Matilda and Madeline Miller's Circe. A family values group disapproves of the magical themes, though, and wastes no time launching a modern-day witch hunt. Suddenly, former friends and customers are targeting not only Nora and Miracle Books, but a new shopkeeper, Celeste, who's been selling CBD oil products. This sounds a little bit too political for me, and not really what I'm looking for in a cozy. Even the Halloween, I'm really not into Halloween. But anyway, this might be a book for you, and it's a 2021 release. The next book is one that, well, I picked these all up from the new book section of the library. They happen to have all mysteries, so I was very lucky. And this is one that I'm really interested in. I've never heard of the author. His name is Jason Pinter, and it's called Hideaway. And it says, yesterday she was a victim, today she's going after a killer. And I really like this cover. I like anything with ocean, so it's a really good cover. It also has like, under the hide, there's like buildings. So I don't know if this is in New York or another city. A city with an ocean. That could be Honolulu. Well, let's see if it says. On the surface, Rachel Marin is an ordinary single mother. On the inside, she's a fierce, brilliant vigilante. After an unspeakable crime shatters her life, she changes her identity and moves to a small town in Illinois, hoping to spare her children from further trauma, or worse. But crime follows her everywhere. When the former mayor winds up dead, Rachel can't help but get involved. Where local detectives see suicide, she sees murder. They resent her for butting in, especially since she's always one step ahead. But her investigative genius may be her undoing. The deeper she digs, the harder it is to keep her own secrets buried. So it doesn't say where it is, but I'm sure we'll find out. I'm just curious about the first sentence. The night her family was ripped apart, the woman stood by her oven, watching the chicken cook through the glass, thinking to herself, there was nothing on earth more terrible than a burnt casserole. That is a 5-star first sentence, first paragraph of a book, because we already know that something terrible is going to happen to her. So I really loved it. Okay, and the last of my new, and I think it is a 2021 release. I got my last new release from a very wonderful channel and a wonderful person, Elizabeth, and her channel's name is Lizzie Faye Loves Books. And although she thought that this is part of a series, and it's called A Granny Read Mystery, and although she thought that this might have been a little dark for the series, I like dark, but I also like books about older women. So let's see what it says. Stella, Granny Read's youth wasn't the only thing changed by time in tiny, nondescript McGill, Georgia, except even back in the 1980s, the southern town still had a way of attracting downright dubious characters, some with a talent for murder. As quirky as McGill's residents can be, they usually welcome society's oddballs and outcasts into the community with open arms. But the 3 members of the lone white wolf pack are a different story. Townsfolk aren't feeling the least bit neighborly toward the ignorant gang widely believed to have orchestrated several hate crimes in the area. Now this sounds like a little political too, but in this case, after I read the first little paragraph, I'm in for it. Please excuse my bad southern accent while I read this. Woohoo! Get a load of Granny. She's got lipstick on. Red lipstick. Looks like she's been sucking on a red lollipop. That's 'cause she's going out on a date. Granny and the sheriff sitting in a tree. Kissing. Yeah, she's going to get red lipstick all over his face. Hush up, the lot of you. That'll be quite enough. Okay, so I really like this. It sounds like it has a lot of lovable characters in it. And I love that the main character, or maybe the amateur detective, is a granny like me. We're grannies. Okay, so that's the end of the part of the book, of the video. That's new releases. And I can't tell you that I will be reading every one of them, because I've been up to here with mysteries. I love it. I love it. So here's one that I picked up. It is an Agatha Christie, and it's Murder at the Manor. And it has 2 books in it. It's Crooked House and Murder by Ordeal. And I picked it up. I wanted to read Crooked House. And this is a large print, which means I can save my eyes a little bit. So let's see. I know I read it before, at least Crooked House. So it says that, published in 1949, Crooked House takes place in Three Gables, the home of the indecently wealthy and recently deceased Aristides Leonidas and his extended family. Agatha Christie really had a way with naming her characters in her books. And I remember this name. In love with Aristides' granddaughter Sophia, Charles Hayward becomes embroiled with the whole clan as they come to suspect that Leonidas may have been murdered. Charles is stunned when each of the family in turn tells him that it's all right if the right one did the murder. Okay, so the other one, the other story or novel in this, and this was written in 1949, but the other story, or the other novel, is Ordeal by Innocence, 1958. Sunny Point sees darker days when Rachel Argyle is murdered and her adopted son Jocko is convicted of the crime. 2 years later, Dr. Arthur Calgary returns from a trek to Antarctica after a bout of partial amnesia and provides an airtight alibi for Jocko, who has since passed away in prison. And though the good doctor thought the Argyles would be glad to have Jocko's name cleared, he finds he's dead wrong. For now they have to root out a killer in the house. So I might read both of these. I don't know if I'm going to get to all of this by the end of March. I can't believe it's going so fast. And that comes to a book that I thought I wouldn't get to read or didn't want to read. And it's The Secret of Chimneys. But when I read about it, I talked about The Secret of Chimneys in my TBR video for March Mystery Madness. But when I read it, it said that a young drifter delivers a package and finds himself embroiled in a murder. And it didn't sound that interesting to me. But when I went back and reread a synopsis of it, it says that this book, which was written in 1925, and I really like Agatha Christie's earlier novels, and it says it introduces the characters of Superintendent Battle and Lady Eileen Bundle Brent. And it says that at the request of George Lomax, Lord Catherham reluctantly agrees to host a weekend party at his home Chimneys. A murder occurs, beginning a week of fast-paced events with a police among the guests. And it also has a treasure hunt in it, but it also says that there's some racism because of the times. Well, we can say that today as well, but then, even now, it seems to be okay. It was okay to say certain things. I haven't read the book yet, so I don't know what they're referring to. But it sounds interesting, and I want to read it. For the Irish Readathon, I got a book out of the library. Well, it's an audio book. I still have a CD player. And it's by Frank McCourt, the author of Angela's Ashes, and it's called Teacher Man, 2009. And I read this book, but I'd love, love, love to hear this with all the Irish cadences and wonderful, I just noticed it said officially noted scratches. That's not a good thing. Anyway, I read the book and I laughed. And I laughed at Angela's Ashes, even though there was a lot of sad parts. But when he's funny, Frank McCourt was really funny. I miss him. I think he could have written a lot more books. He was born in America, and then he went back to Ireland, and then he came back. And he went back in Angela's Ashes. He went back to a life of poverty and horror, and but also so much comedy. And Angela was his mother. But this is about when he came back to New York City. It says he was born in 1930 in Brooklyn, as was I. Not in 1930 though. To Irish immigrant parents, grew up in Limerick and returned to America in 1949. But this was hilarious because it has a lot about the New York City public schools, which I was brought up in, and he was a teacher. I wish he had been my teacher. Anyway, I'll let you know if the scratches will let me be able to listen to this. All right, now let's go to what I'm reading now. You might be surprised after my rant of One by One by Ruth Ware that I would be reading another book by Ruth Ware. But I am. And it's called Death of Mrs. Westaway. I've got to about chapter 8. And I think most people on BookTube know what this is about. And I'll just read a very short synopsis. On a day that begins like no other, Hal receives a mysterious letter bequeathing her a substantial inheritance. She realized very quickly that the letter was sent to the wrong person, but also that the code reading skills she's honed as a tarot card reader might help her claim the money. I don't want to read any more of this because I haven't read much more. It's a large print book. I've been reading, another booktuber said that when they read a big book, this is not a tome, it's just large print. So it looks bigger, you know, it looks like a tome, but it's not. But I've been reading 30 pages, and so far so good. I will say that Ruth Ware, now she's a youngish woman, and she has a great talent for writing. But I've been disappointed in most of her books, especially One by One. This came right before One by One, The Death of Mrs. Westaway. So this girl, Hal, she's written, you know, very, very pitifully. There's no subtlety in describing how her life is so terrible that she has to run away and pretend that she's the granddaughter of Mrs. Westaway. I think that a little bit less in your face, we would have appreciated it just as much. But I think that what she has in this book that I like, that was missing in this book, One by One, is that she finally has a character that we can relate to, that we feel sorry for, that and I really was interested in the tarot card readings. I don't know too much about it, and it sounded very interesting. So I am going to finish this. The two books that I finished this month, well, beside all the others that I talked about, like Pocketful of Rye and Agatha Christie and One to Buckle My Shoe and a myriad of other Agatha Christies, was this book, and it's a very special book. It's called Lonesome Road, and it's a Miss Silver mystery by Patricia Wentworth. And I talked about Patricia Wentworth last time, that she was a contemporary of Dorothy L. Sayers, and also she was a contemporary of Agatha Christie and Dorothy L. Sayers and others of the Golden Age mysteries. And I would call this more of a romantic suspense book rather than a mystery, though it has mysterious tropes in it. But I will say that first of all, there's a likable main character. There's a lot of romance in this book, but in a good way for me. And I love Miss Silver. Not only is she smart and a good listener, she was a governess. She hated her job as a governess, and she opened up sort of a detective agency. And she reminds me, and this sounds really weird, of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Not because Ruth Bader Ginsburg knitted like Miss Silver did, but the something about her, how smart she is, something the way she's portrayed as, the way she looks, made me think of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Tell me in the comments if I'm crazy or not. Well, we already know the answer to that, though I don't like to use the word crazy. And I talked about this before. I'm unusual, let's put it that way. I'm going to wrap this up later on. I just tell you that I loved it. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I loved it. And I'm going to wrap up Passing later this month, which is like in a few days. But I'm in the middle of reading Quicksand, which I think I'm enjoying more. And this is by Nella Larson. And I think I'm enjoying it even more than I did Passing. And like I said, I'll talk about that later. And I'm also, after I cleaned it up, I told you how nasty that I got this from the book. I had to wash it, and I still am thinking of buying it in a very good edition before I read this. It's The Caribbean Mystery by Agatha Christie. And I just realized that I picked up the wrong book, but I want to read this book too, and it's called Oh, the Brave Music. And it's also, I bought this in bad condition, and it's by Dorothy Evelyn Smith. But the other one, Caribbean Mystery, I got from the library, and it was in bad shape. This one I might have to buy. They did a new reprint, and I might have to buy this. Now, to end my video, I thought it would be exciting. I got something in the mail. I have no idea what it is. Of course, it's a book. What else could it be? But I don't know if it's a mystery or not. But I thought I would find out on this video. So here we go. Voila! It's not a mystery. It's a book I think I got from Sean the Book Maniac, or it could be Brian from Bookish. I'm not sure which one. I will check that out and leave you in the description box. But it's called Underground in Berlin, a young woman's extraordinary tale of survival in the heart of Nazi Germany. And it says, in 1942, Marie Jalowicz, a 20-year-old Jewish Berliner, furtively resolved to do everything in her power to avoid the concentration camps. She removed her yellow star, took on an assumed identity, and disappeared into the city. In the years that followed, Marie took shelter wherever it was offered, living with the strangest of bedfellows, from circus performers and committed communists to Nazi loyalists. This sounds really good. And the Jews and others who disappeared in Nazi Germany were called U-boat, or U-boaters. And I read a few books, Holocaust memoirs about them. And when I heard this, and I have to figure out who gave me this wonderful book, I went right away and bought it. And I bought it from, it's called Discover Books. And I'm not sure, but I think they give some money to charity. So that's good too. Well, I think we're at the end of this book haul. And what I'm reading, what I read, a whole plethora of topics. I don't know if you hear outside, but we've been having a deluge. No. We've been having a deluge of Rain? I don't know if you heard it outside. Someone asked me once if I was frying fish, but we're having a deluge. My partner Jackson just told me. I thought it was deluge. No, I'm just kidding. I thought it was deluge. Deluge. Anyway, it's been raining a lot. It's raining cats and dogs, and I don't fry anymore. So, this is unusual for Hawaii because we're already at the end of March. We're supposed to be really getting hot. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will comment about anything that I've said. Have you read any of these books? Do you want to read these books? Are you enjoying March Mystery Madness as much as I am? Just let me know. And please subscribe if you haven't already. And until very soon, I wish you aloha.